Alright, hello gamers, welcome back to the show. I'm your charming, self-proclaimed, yet still humble host, Mukluk, and today we are back in Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. A little worried about the sound right now. Let me turn this down a touch for the moment. So we have already done a playthrough of this game back when it first came out, and had a lot of fun. And since then, they've released 2 DLCs, dramatically improving the gameplay experience and adding like 10 to 30 hours of content to the game as well. We did a sponsored stream for them last night. The sponsored thing is over. I'm not getting paid to do this now, but I had so much fun doing the sponsored thing. I was like, I want to play this again with all the new content. So that is why we are here. So if you are seeing this on the Mukluk Plays YouTube channel in the future, and you want to see my first playthrough, that is the other playlist. So this will be our second playthrough with the new content. Why not 40k Darktide? Darktide is great. I've been playing a lot of that with the boy lately off stream, but not what our goal is today. So we're gonna do new game. We've got both the DLCs turned on, Void Shadows and Lex Imperialis. And fun fact, speaking of Darktide, this is the Arbites and his robot dog. They were added to Darktide and this game both. Okay, continue. Difficulty. Last time, we played the game on hard mode. And I specifically remember a couple of ship battles that was just 30 minutes of me kiting to stubbornly beat it on hard mode without turning down the difficulty. Most of the game was fine, but there was a few moments that was just massive HP sponges. And so for that reason, just to try to get a better experience, we've beaten it on hard mode, we got good. We're gonna do it on daring. A normal apparently nerfs the enemies. So we're gonna play on daring and see how that feels. And let's see, continue. This difficulty is not recommended for noobs, I accept. Alright, and then you choose your character or make a new one. We're gonna make a new one. You could go custom. Yeah, I could. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to look like? Last time I looked like this guy. We can change that if we want. Let's see. What do we want here? Psyker guy. I was a Psyker last time, so I'll do something different this time, although I did very much enjoy my Psyker officer. That guy looks like the Pope with a chainsaw. Alright. Let's see. I mean, this guy looks like he would match that voice that I was doing. We could do that. Let's see. The picture, he's got like a cybernetic implant. Is that an option? Let's see, that's face number 9. Let's see. Augmentations. Oh, here we go. I don't think I see anything related to the eye. I guess that's like equipment. Let's see, I'm back because Rogue Trader sponsored my Toon's new bikini bottom. I sent it to you last night, Sand. Quite a few 40k games knocked it out of the park recently. Adding the same class into 2 unrelated games same time is a cool idea. I think I'm doing a new play with the DLC as well. Was a sniper last time with something different. Does this game also use D20? No, it's similar, but no, it doesn't just cleanly use a D20 system, no. But anytime you mouse over an enemy to try to aim something at them, it tells you the chance to hit. Let's see, what do we got?
For the glory of the dynasty,
We have purified.
I'll make it happen.
Let chaos paint the stars red.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
What curiosity unveils itself before?
Dang it, definitely that one. We did that one, I'm pretty sure we did that one last time. I don't care, that one's the funny one. Alright, what world are you from? Okay, so last time we played, I played as a Psyker officer, and I really enjoyed it. I had offensive spells, I had like fire, I had defensive like healing spells, and the officer allowed you to keep giving extra turns to whoever was the strongest member of your party. So it was really cool. However, just to keep it different, I'm thinking this time of being the tank. Basically taking Abelard's job, but, you know, min-maxing it a little bit. So, our options, let's see, what homeworld are you from? Let's see, Death Worlds. Once per combat, when wounds of a Death World character drop below 30%, they gain 20% of their max wounds as temp wounds. Wounds is basically hit points. They have nerfed officers since then. Oh, really? They fixed that muck, you can't keep giving turns to Argenta all the time. Okay, so the main thing with giving turns to Argenta wasn't giving her an extra turn. It was that her damage ramped up infinitely. She had a passive, I forget what it was, and it was like every time she fired her gun, she gained like +1 damage or something. And so, you know, at the beginning of the fight, she'd be hitting for like 5, and at the end of the fight, she'd be hitting for like 10,000. So it was like tap, 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 one shot. Let's see. Death Ward characters also gain a +20% to dodge and armor, while they have at least 1 temp wound from any source. Okay, that's really good. So if this guy's gonna be the tank, that seems really good. Alright, Voidborn can reroll any failed attack, dodge, parry, characteristic, or skill test with a 20% chance of success. This chance cannot be greater than the base success chance of the roll. Additionally, any enemy dodge or parry against a Voidborn character has a 20% chance to fail after a successful roll. But you get -5 strength. While a warrior character has more than 50% wounds, all characters of all creatures, including enemies, are increased by 10%. Okay. And what does this one get? Dude, there's so many passives just from where you come from. Death World characters gain additional crit chance against targets with bleeding or with less than half health. Death World characters have +10% crit with axes, hammers, and weapons. Every injury increases Death World characters' agi and willpower by 5. Every trauma counts as 3 injuries. Death World characters suffer -toughness bonus, less damage from fire, toxic damage, and bleeding. Once per combat, when the Death World character would be stunned, blinded, or mobilized, this effect is ignored and they instead heal. Forge World, you get an upgrade, subskin armor, locomotion system, or analytics. Imperial World, okay, I think I'm gonna go Death World, which gives me plus strength, toughness, agi, some really nice talents, and minus intelligence, minus fellowship. Alright. Then, what is your main class going to be? So last time I played this, there was the Commissar, the Crime Lord, I think the Crime Lord, the Navy officer is definitely there, maybe Noble. The Psyker was there, and that's what I played. I don't remember if this was there. Arbitrator is brand new. I think there might be a new one in here. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe the Priest or the Noble. However, you know, we're trying to embrace the new content. Let's look at the Arbitrator. The Adeptus Arbites are the implacable and unbribable keepers of the Lex Imperialis, the sole and sacred law of the Imperium. They exact a merciless and terrifying punishment upon any who dare violate the sacred tithe, the tribute every Imperium world must pay in the name of its continued existence. Shotgun Mastery, you can use two-handed shotguns in one hand. You could parry incoming attacks with a gun. To calculate parry chance, you use your ballistic skill instead of weapon skill. Can make attacks of opportunity with a ranged weapon that they can use in melee range. Successful attacks reduce enemies' armor for 1 round. Attacks made on others' turns deal more damage. Pacification procedure. Once per turn, the Arbitrator can throw a grenade that does not deal damage on impact, cause 0 AP, doesn't count toward attack limit. Gain toughness equal to half their equipped shield's block. Whenever an enemy adjacent to the Arbitrator fails a willpower test for the first time in a round, that enemy provokes an AOO from the Arbitrator. If multiple enemies fail this test at the same time, the attack is triggered against one of them randomly. Allies in a 3-celled radius around the Arbitrator deal more damage, doesn't stack. During tactical phase, Arbitrator can be placed in a cell adjacent to an enemy. As long as the arbitrator has more than 90% wounds, they're immune to blind, disturbed, fatigued, perplexed, slowed, staggered. After the arbitrator uses a heroic act or desperate measure, they gain willpower bonus to coercion and block until end of combat. And when a one-handed shock baton or a one-handed power maul is equipped, arbitrator gains plus parry and reduces the weapon skill of enemies hit with the weapon by 10 till the end of combat. Doesn't stack. This weapon also deals plus 25% crit damage. Dang. So do we want to do one-handed bonk plus shield or one-handed shotgun plus shield? Alright, we'll be an arbitrator. And then we got another choice here. Hang on. Alright. Vigilant, Castigator, or Subductor. Vigilant. For every target, there's a bullet. Your former squad was responsible for eradicating heretics who had defied the Lex Imperialis. You learn to utilize different ammo types to best suit a given situation or take down a specific enemy. By choosing your arsenal wisely and targeting leaders of the resistance, you always completed your objective in the God Emperor's name. Enemies attacked by Swift RB or their familiar suffer Swift Justice until the end of the RB's next turn. The shotgun attacks deal plus more damage to those enemies. Fulminating Shot. The shotgun attack reduces dodge, parry, and block of targets in the area for 1 round, regardless of whether they were hit or not. Damage from this attack is reduced by half. Okay. Gains Grisly Adjudication. Shotgun attack has plus penetration, an additional armor pin, and inflicts max damage levels of bleeding on targets hit. Double Slug allows the arbitrator to make 2 single shots against 1 target. Castigator. The arbitrator's order is the voice of the Lex Imperialis. Your squad was in charge of collecting sacred tithe from debtors and suppressing resistance shown. Your commands bellow with unshakable confidence honed by years of service, making allies and offenders alike comply, for none dare protest when you give voice to your will. Hundreds of criminals have fallen to their knees and begged for mercy upon hearing your deafening order to surrender. All of them face swift and harsh judgment. Features. Arbitrator inflicts stacks of death sentence effect on any enemy. Each stack increases enemies' chance to be critically hit and reduces their perception of willpower. Whenever a target under this effect suffers damage from an attack, it suffers plus 1 stack of death sentence. This effect lasts till the start of the next turn. Castigated. Enemies hit by arbitrator or their familiar deal less damage from 1 round. Does not stack. Abilities. That's an order. Arbitrator chooses a cell within a 6-cell radius. All enemies within a 3-cell radius around the arbitrator must make a willpower resistance test with a penalty. On a failed test, if possible, they move to the designated cell. So you force the enemies to do movement. In the name of Lex Imperialis. For 1 round, the arbitrator and their allies gain immunity to prone, stun, immobile, and can't attack effects, as well as to all types of forced movement. Enemies must pass a willpower resistance test with blah 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 penalty or become immobilized. Okay. Subductor. The shield of the Arbites separates law from the lawless and the truth from the detestable lie. Before your ascension, you were part of a squad tasked with keeping crowds from rioting and dangerous criminals from escaping. As long as you have your shield, you're prepared to face any threat and push it back outside the perimeter. Ruthless Suppression. If there are 2 or more enemies in a 2-cell radius around you, no critical hits can be scored against you or your familiar. And the Arbites and the arbitrator and their familiar critical hit chance is increased by blah blah blah. Whenever an enemy adjacent to the RB gets up from being prone, they will get an attack of opportunity. Assault Onslaught. Dash through enemies and allies and enemies in a straight line for up to 5 cells without provoking AOs. Each enemy they dash through must pass an Agi resistance test or fall prone until the start of the next turn. Okay, so this one is all about the shield and tanking and stuff. I'm going to take Subductor. Triumph. Okay, this is something good you did in the past. Let's see. Plus athletics, plus persuasion, or plus lore Imperium. I'm thinking athletics. I'm pretty sure, hold on, my homeworld gave me minus int minus fellowship. Alright, despite having run out of ammo, you defended a critical area for the arbitrators all by yourself until reinforcements arrived. Alright, something terrible that happened to you in the past. -5 to warp lore, commerce, or carouse. Carouse is like, that's toughness, so we're gonna have good carouse. So probably this. You escorted a tithe of psychers aboard a black ship. The terrors of the warp left your soul harrowed, deterring you from ever tapping into forbidden knowledge. So there's my foggy memory tells me there's 3 ways to really do this. There is playing where you're like good boy for the Emperor. There's playing where you're for the people, which I think is what I did the one time I played through this. And there's playing where you're a bit heretical. Like you're allying with the mutants and stuff like that. I was for the people last time. Probably leaning toward the, you know, good boy for the Emperor. If I wanted to get the most new stuff out of this playthrough, that would actually be leaning toward grouping with the teammates that were a little bit more on the heresy side. Minus int, minus fellowship. Arbity's going heretical is kind of weird. Yeah. I guess I don't have to make the decision now. Let's see. Minus fellowship. Scarouse. Alright. -5 lore of warp. I know less about the warp. Alright. Choose an archetype. Pretty sure Blade Dancer is new. What does that do? Blade Dance, make agility bonus melee attacks against random targets, including allies adjacent to the Blade Dancer, each dealing 50% of the normal damage. Melee burst attack does not count toward attack limit per turn. Can only be used with a sword equipped. If you have 2 swords equipped, you make more attacks. Okay. Alright. This guy's gonna be our frontliner. So, warrior. And endure. Yeah. Okay. So, warrior. And next. Okay. So we have 30 points to spend. Let's see, toughness, how it defines how easily you can shrug off pain, how easily they can resist toxins, poisons, environments, diseases, and other physical ailments. It increases the chance of resisting negative physical effect and the amount of a character's wounds. For each point of a toughness bonus, characters gain plus 10% wounds. Also affects carouse. Go back. Let me go back. Let me look at a few things. Can parry incoming attacks with a ranged weapon using your ballistic skill. Can use shotguns in one hand. Can you tell customers stop coming in today so I can watch the stream? Just put up a little sign. Flexigier's confidence increases their parry and reduces the enemy parry chance against melee. Alright, that's Unga Bunga. Sword and board. Classic. Void ship. I don't remember what I named it last time. Knowing my sense of humor, it was probably something like Rock the Boat. Charybdis? Chat, you got any ship-related puns? Oh, yo, Bodie McBoatface. We could do Bodie McBoatface. My hotspot isn't working. Press this power button. My phone doesn't make sounds. Turn silent off. I reinstalled the game. I heard Ruthless is worthless. No. I used to do that when I worked at Walmart. Can you look in the back? I go back and just stand for a few minutes and tell them we don't have it. Oh my gosh. Alright. Bodie McBoatface. Okay. 26,000 people on staff. Alright. Name. Edit. Mukluk. Alright. Warpy McWarpface. Dang it! I missed my chance. Missed chance to name it Naughty Boy. N-A-U-T-I. Oh, wow. That door looks like it's a pain to open. That's a big door.
An excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
Frankly, such excess can be tiring at times.
I believe there are those among us who share that sentiment. But such is our duty, is it not? To overcome base weaknesses and desires, so as to excel in our service to the God Emperor, the master of humanity.
Hang on. Woo. Shrink it down a little bit. Alright.
Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtveer, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rogue Trader Theodora von Valencias. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
Marshal Mukluk von Adelgard.
My regards, Marshal. The Adeptus Arbites are famous for their unbending will and keen instinct for uncovering hidden webs of conspiracy and scheming. This is admittedly a priceless skill for someone destined for a path as special as yours. I will be frank with you. You may forget your past titles, no matter who gave them to you, or what their origins are. From the moment you and the other candidate were brought aboard this void ship, your fate changed. You now serve Lord Captain Theodora von Valencias, and carry the burden of an heir of this house. Henceforth, you share your dynastic name with Her Ladyship. Bear it with honor.
Muck, can you turn up the dialogue a tad? Try that. Muck, how do you balance the games you play on and off stream? if there's a game I start on stream, I try to do the whole playthrough on stream because, you know, there are people that follow the playthrough. If there's something that I just really want to play that's like, you know, heavily repeatable stuff, like Total War or Darktide or something, especially if my kid wants to play it, I'll play it with him off stream. It just depends. Let's see. Alright. I assume you had some goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let us address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Ethelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Oh, one step at a time, amidst the madness.
A massive conference table, obviously crafted from real wood, resource of incredible value if on a void ship. A candlelit altar with a copy of the 2,348th volume of the Lex Imperialis, the Codex of the Sacred Laws of the Imperium.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Honestly disappointed we don't have Luck von Valencius. Was that my name last time? I forgot.
One of the von Valencius trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
Is this when we get jumped?
What's happening? Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
Cower before the mind's unhinged.
You've been ambushed, the battle begins. Start battle. Wow. Those two are dead. That's all I can do.
Let's see. What if?
He finally fired his gun. He just kept doing analysis.
Suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan.
Spread out. No one's allowed to enter the premises. Stations.
I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
He gives you a curt bow. Cow, thank you for the membership. Appreciate that. Welcome back.
In this tapestry of a world.
The wires in the servitor's head are still smoldering. It would seem the cause of the malfunction was the short-circuiting of the motive force. Tarantula's Sentry Gun, constructed with the blessing of the Adeptus Mechanicus using a standard template